What's up, guys? It's time for another installment of Tom's Tips About Stuff. Tom's Tips About Lacrosse Stuff. Let's go. All right, so we did another one. The last couple ones have been pretty well received, so I'm going to keep going until I run out of stuff. I have quite a few for the coaches this time, so let's get to it. Coaches, stop trying to get everybody a goal in a blowout. I totally get it, if you've got a few second, third, fourth string offensive players, middies, even D middies, trying to get them a goal makes sense, but don't try to get everybody a goal. And if you're pulling third string goalies and, bench close defenders up into attack to try and get them goals, that's not cool, especially if you're calling timeout with a minute left to run a set play for little Timmy because he hasn't touched the ball all season. And truthfully, you're looking at close defenders, goalies, second string, third string, whatever, even starting goalies, starting defenders. They chose that line of work, and scoring goals, not necessarily in their job description. If it happens on a clear, goalie takes one coast to coast or a pull, clears it, no one plays him, and he scores, awesome. That's fantastic. Forcing the issue, not cool. Number 2, and this one's for youth coaches. Youth coaches, your number one job is to get these kids ready for high school lacrosse. It's all that matters. Now, I know if you're being paid to coach a travel team, wins and losses are important, especially if the director's on you for recruiting, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm talking about like regular spring teams, middle school teams, whatever it is. Our main goal as coaches is to get them ready. If you are a coach who is all about that W, which I get, I totally understand. I hate losing as much as anybody else. But if you are, keeping your starters on the field, running your horse on punt return clears so he can just score at will, and you're running up the score while your practice players or your second string, whoever, your non-starters are sitting on the bench just praying for PT, you are doing them a disservice because they could be absolute ballers in high school. You never know. It is a huge jump from 7th, 8th grade to senior year in high school. And kids who may not be doing anything right now could be superstars. So it's up to you to get them ready. Get them PT, get them reps in practice, treat them the same as your other players. Now, granted, if you've got a kid who is a potential standout superstar D1 prospect, yeah, pour a little more into him. It just makes sense. But don't forget about the other guys. And I have a story about that. My 15A team, we did terrible in the win-loss column. I think we were like 1-12, but it was easily the best team I ever coached. We had a lot of issues, but in the league we were playing, there was only 7 A teams out of like 85 clubs. So these 7 A teams were dominant. Everybody else was sandbagging it and went B, which was embarrassing for those clubs, I feel. That's another story altogether. But we didn't do well. And even though it was the best team I ever coached, I think 10 of my like 21 went on to play varsity as freshmen, which is huge. We weren't winning, so I set up a scrimmage with the high school I now coach at with their JV team. So I took my 15As, which were 8th graders. I think they were all 8th graders. So 13, 14-year-olds, and we took them to the high school to play the JV team, and we dominated. Everyone felt good about themselves. Parents were like, okay, I get it. Coach Tom, he's not a complete idiot. These kids are, in fact, ready for high school. So, the players came off the field that day just like all smiles. They felt so good about themselves. They were able to beat high schoolers. And on this JV team, there were freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and my kids dominated, and that was awesome. So, don't worry about the win-loss. Just make sure they're ready for that next level. Number 3, study lacrosse outside of practice. Obviously, coaches, everyone, they're always telling you to hit the wall, which is important. Hit the wall outside of practice. Absolutely. But you have to study it too. Sometimes in practice, it's just a lot of conditioning, a lot of drills, and coaches may not touch on why exactly we're doing the things we're doing. So if you're not getting that mental aspect of the game or being taught it, get it yourself. So go watch games, watch highlights, watch them through, and then rewind it to figure out how it worked. Why was he able to get to the goal? Watch what's happening off ball. Watch, pick it apart, analyze it, rewind it, slow motion, anything you can do. And then watch, defense, watch slides, watch how they're rotating, watch how they're working together, watch communication, everything. Pick it apart, take notes, and, pick your position, obviously, and watch that. But it's good to watch the whole game because you never know where you're going to end up on a field. It's a complicated game. It's a thinking man's game, but it's not beyond any of you. Pour yourself into it, study it after you do your homework. Number 4, protect what you love. Protect what you love is something I say a lot during the season, and it's kind of got 2 parts. Normally I say it to kids who are, right on the edge, struggling to maintain that GPA that allows them to play. I tell them, protect what you love. You love lacrosse. You love being out here. You love the camaraderie, your teammates, the brotherhood, the actual practice. You love the game. Do everything you can to protect it. If you're going home and binge watching Rick and Morty for the 10th time instead of studying, doing your homework, you're blowing it. I promise you with every ounce of my being that you will regret it in the future if you blow off school now and then are unable to play because your grades are too bad. It's not worth it. Buckle down, hit the books, play on game day. Protect what you love also goes for making good decisions outside of practice, outside of school. You're going to parties, stuff's happening all around you. Friends are, making bad decisions. Girlfriends, boyfriends are making bad decisions. Doesn't matter. You've got to make the good decision. Protect what you love by doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. That's like the best practical definition of self-discipline that I've ever heard. Do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. It all boils down to that. That is self-discipline in a nutshell. So protect what you love. Number 5, coaches. We've all had teams that were less than stellar. In that win-loss category, it was just, I couldn't even think about it. So what you have to do to keep you as a coach motivated and your team motivated is to set alternative goals. It's a bummer to have to do it, but it's hugely important and it works. It helps keep you engaged, it helps keep your players engaged, and it helps keeping them, want to keep coming back to practice and get better. There's a whole bunch of different things you could do, and really kind of depends on your team, but one I always liked is win the ground ball battle. We're losing by 20. They killed us in ground balls in the first half, so this quarter, third quarter, let's win the ground ball battle. And we'll have guys on the sideline and assistant coaches, whoever, counting them up. We've got a stat keeper, but we need those stats right away so we can talk about it before the fourth quarter begins. Like, guys, we gave up 19 goals in the third, but we won the ground ball battle. May seem stupid, but it's important. You got to find those little things and you got to celebrate them when you achieve them. Intensity and effort is infectious on a team. So be that guy that gives it 100% all the time, and your teammates will follow suit. If you're the guy that's goofing around, talking in huddles, messing around, very low effort, that is also infectious. So don't ruin your practice by being the guy who takes it down. You want that intensity level up. You want that effort level up as high as possible. So take it upon yourself to play at your highest level and influence those around you to do the same. Number 7, be thankful. Be thankful to your coaches. Thank your coaches after every practice. I know that's a pain, but it's important. Coaches, especially at the high school and youth level, club lacrosse, even MCLA teams, they don't get paid much. They're out there oftentimes for below minimum wage, like way below, sometimes volunteer. I usually don't get paid. I've started to a little bit, but thank your coaches and thank your refs. If you're a youth player, thank your mom and dad. It is a pain in the butt to get you to practice, to get you to games. For some parents. For some parents, they're already there. Like me, I was always already there. But I know other parents, 2 working parents, 1 working parent, it's tough to juggle that kid and get him where he needs to be. So make sure you're thanking him. Number 8, I was guilty of this for years. Don't be last in sprints or in laps because there's always going to be someone who's last, which isn't really the problem, but it's usually going to be the same kid. That's not helpful. That's frustrating. That's hard on him. We want to improve this kid. We want to make him better. calling out the fact that you're always last doesn't really help. I coach for the East Bay Aces with John Christmas, and what John does is something that I hadn't seen another coach do, but I really like. So everything is a competition. Every drill is broken up into teams. When a team loses, they run from sideline to sideline, however many times. But what John does is he says, last 3 go again. What that does is it separates, the speed obviously isn't going to have to go again, but the guys who are, low end, but have the potential to push themselves more, they just don't. They can squeak above that last group that's going to have to go again. And then the bottom 3, who's usually the slowest guys on the team, or guys who just don't know how to push themselves, they have to run again. So that's good for them physically, and it's much better on their psyches to be in a group, to have to go again with 2 other partners. Like, yeah, man, we're slow, but they're putting in another lap or another sprint, whatever it is, and it's 3 of them together instead of one being singled out. Don't be last, don't be last. Don't be last isn't helpful. Last 3 go again from John Christmas. I don't know where he got it. Maybe he invented it. Maybe he got it from another coach, but that is very helpful, and I think it's something that most coaches should probably use. That's all I have for today. This is probably going to be a long one. I think I went over a lot. A lot of them were kind of a lot of words in there. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.